Let's prepare for the great gay awakening. Play that music. Hey everyone. Hey friends. Party time. Back on Restitching the Tapestry. Hello everyone. I hope you're doing well. We are on episode 148 of Restitching the Tapestry, and honestly, I know we're nearing leap year when you think about it, which is going to be our 150th episode. So I hope that you are mentally ready to celebrate.
Isn't that our sesquicentennial?
Yeah. Are we going to do a jubilee? Let's do it. We should have named the episode Jubilee. Oh my goodness. So how have we been? What have you been up to?
Oh my God. Just everything and everything. I've been working on my winter design for my publishing house, Monroe House Publishing. I was just working out the final details of that, and that should be published next week. So I'm working on that. I've also finished up my college class, poetry writing. So I have a week off coming up. And then just lots of stuff. It snowed. Did you see it snowed?
Yes, I was unfortunately spending most of my morning shoveling, and I was exhausted. But hey, I needed the exercise. The woes of homeownership means you have to shovel and snow blow and all of that jazz. So
oh goodness.
And it was like a thick, heavy snow too. I was like, ooh.
It really was, yeah.
I know. You probably have like a zillion inches over there, considering you're over by the lake.
It was not a zillion inches, but I definitely it definitely took some effort to clean off my car. And I heard the plow running through our complex just a few minutes ago.
Good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, parking lot plowing is important, considering I remember living in an apartment and sometimes it wouldn't happen and it would be such a mess. So,
but they do this thing where they plow and they get right behind your. If you haven't moved, they plow right behind your car, so you have to like roll over what they plowed.
Remember a few weeks ago when your car was buried?
Yes.
Ari sent me a picture of their car, and it literally, you could not tell there was a car. It was just like a mound of snow. Oh my goodness. So what have I been up to? So this week I've mostly been just, I don't know, it's been one of those weeks where I've just been trying to keep my head above water because there's just been so much stuff going on, and looking forward to doing this is kind of like one of the things like that gets me through the week. So yay.
How was your Valentine's Day?
Oh, our Valentine's Day was nice. We went out to dinner. And beyond that, we just had a night in. We didn't do anything overly extravagant. Britt got me tulips.
He got you tulips? Oh, that's sweet.
Isn't that sweet? And I bought him a hat. Now, it was funny because we both yesterday went to the store. We were like, okay, we got to get each other something. And we were like, I was full on thinking that we were going to get each other the same thing because I bought him a hyacinth. But he bought me tulips, so I was like, "Whew, good." Did you do any
flowers? It's so nice.
Yes. Did you do any self-love over Valentine's Day? Self-celebrating?
So I got shown love from the universe. So I went down to the beach, and I was just, because I go down to the beach to, walk around, and you know how I see smiley faces as a way of like the universe, that when I see smiley faces, it's the universe smiling at me.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting in my car writing poetry, and all of a sudden a car pulls up right behind me as I'm writing poetry at the beach, and they have a smiley face sticker on their car. And I was like, that's the universe telling me that it's going to be okay. And then I was like, so I went to the store and I got snacks for myself and I went home and I just enjoyed the rest of my night. I had a really good time.
I love that. That's good. Arby's here. Jackie's here as well. Happy belated Valentine's Day. I'll never forget the many years, like early on YouTube, I would do like these Valentine's Day streams where I would be drinking wine. I would make myself like a charcuterie board and I'd just eat and talk about how mad I was at everything.
No, I definitely was not mad on Valentine's Day. I definitely had a very good Valentine's Day.
That's good.
A very,
You were
very,
bigger, you were more elevated than me.
a very good healing Valentine's Day. I did not feel lonely at all. I definitely felt love from the universe. I worked on painting. I did reading. I had a very nice Valentine's Day.
That's good. That makes me happy to see.
Yeah.
So, any current events going on? I can't think of any. I've just been so checked out.
The world is probably going to hell, and I have no idea.
I did see something trending on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, yesterday about like some sort of like space alert thing or something like that, like associated. And I don't know what it really was, but I was like, that sounds scary. I'm gonna avoid that. And then I'm like, well, it's great that I have the privilege to be able to avoid scary things.
I just don't want to know. I just don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm kind of I think we both have been in this mode where we've just been like, okay, let's just distance ourselves from the chaos of everything.
Sometimes it's just good to not know like the bigger, because like sometimes it's just like sometimes it's okay to watch like the local news, but sometimes like the bigger world news is just so scary and so big. Like it's so hard to like quantify all of it because it's so big and so much, and like I just need a break. Like Valentine's Day was big enough of a current event for me. Like
No, I totally get where you're coming from. It's just I feel like since 2016, the news has just been like this constant stream of what is the horrible cataclysmic thing happening now? Like, what is the next horrible cataclysmic thing happening?
Well, did you hear that Neil deGrasse Tyson said that we live in a time where they overblow like the most extreme events, and that we actually live in a more safe time than any time in history, and that but we watch the most extreme events that happen. So like it's like that fear mongering that like we do things to try to like scare ourselves into things, but like we live in a pretty safe time for the most part, relatively speaking.
I also think just our society, like Western culture, I think is very obsessed with like the end and like cataclysm. For some reason, like I feel like we could really do like some sort of deep dive at some point as to why Western culture is so obsessed with
apocalyptic stuff,
with apocalyptic
stuff and dystopian stuff, and like why are we so obsessed with dystopias? And like I understand that like our society has its failures and stuff, but like we're trying the best we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense to me. So I guess that's kind of like where we are in current events. Obviously, if anything like super huge happens and we find out about it, or if it somehow spills into our periphery, we'll definitely talk about it like always. So
yeah.
Are we ready for the show mission statement? I think it's my turn tonight.
It's my turn because you did it last week.
It has on the list that you did it last week.
No, because it wrote that I did it last week, but actually you did it last week.
Oh, I can't remember. You go for it.
We'll get to it eventually. We live in a dynamic society where social media shapes us by creating greater opportunities for connection. It has led to a developing understanding of the adversity many marginalized communities face, the powers causing the adversity, and those who act as bystanders as atrocities take place in real time. Our goal with this show is to make connections and have challenging conversations about social topics, current events, pop culture, and art. Together, let's weave the threads of understanding with what privilege we have in order to learn, educate, and create in a world that's growing.
Beautiful. I love it. So tonight, my friends, we've had this topic in the forefront of our minds for a while, and we're finally going to talk about it. And that topic would be gay awakening or gay awakening. I say gay awakenings, but it's gay awakenings.
Like a portmanteau of one word, gay awakening.
I love portmanteauing everything, honestly. Gay awakening. So I guess let's begin by talking about what a gay awakening is.
So a gay awakening is like when you realize through some sort of outside stimulus or some kind of like reaction to something that you have some kind of like inclination that you might not be straight or that there's something in you that like you realize that like, oh crap, there's something going on here.
There's something going on. No, I would say that is
there's something happening. Something's happening and I don't know what it is.
Like, I know for me, like I could tell when I was like in middle school, for example, because that's like when you start going through puberty and everything, like late 90s for me, like I would always like hear the boys going on and on and on about girls. And for me, I was just like, oh, well, I don't care about that. Like, I don't know, like, why do you care so much about that? I was a little bit of a late little flower in May blooming, you know. But once I hit like late middle school, I began to realize I was like, something's happening. I need to go pray about it. Like I had a thought about a guy that I saw on TV. I need to go pray that gay away. That was my thought process when I was like going through like my early gay awakenings.
Right? It would be like you would look at the opposite gender or you'd look at the same sex or like women. I would look at women and then I would just look at women in general or like, and I would just be like, that's a really beautiful woman. I'd be like, no, that's just, you know, girls just look at each other like that. That's just, and I would do that all the way through my 20s into my early 30s. Like, and, you know, I even told my mom would come to me and be like, you're not gay, are you? And I'd be like, no. Or like, you're not into women, right? Because my mom literally would have talks with me about certain things like that. Like, you know, being gay is a really hard lifestyle. And if you were gay, it would be really hard to live that lifestyle, right? And be like, no, I'm not into women. Women just it's just, you know, women are just, it's a, you know, women can just appreciate looking at other women. You can just appreciate looking at other women and just appreciate the beauty of another woman and just look at another woman and just be like, love looking at other women, right? That's just how it is. That's just how it is. I'm not into women like
it's happening every day, you know.
we just love looking at. It's not that I'm not, and being close to women definitely made me feel uncomfortable, and that being close to a woman would make me awkward and uncomfortable because I was especially if it was an attractive woman.
Oh God.
Just being like, oh my God, I can't be close to this person because I like, especially if they smelled nice. Have you ever been like close to somebody who smelled nice and you were like, like, oh my God, what do I do? I can't do this. I can't do this.
I will never forget, like, well, so like one of my early, like, super duper early gay awakenings, I remember they'd be like very subtle things. Like maybe we would be at like the store buying clothes, and I would like be looking at the underwear displays with all like the, you know, mostly naked dudes. And for some reason I'd linger, I'd be like, and for some reason nobody noticed that I was like drooling over these underwear photo displays. The packaging. And then I remember I went through this like phase where like I would like watch like commercials, and there would be like maybe like like cologne commercials, for example. They get like very sultry and stuff like that, like sometimes. And then I would watch commercials like exercise machine commercials, and I'd be like, oh my God, like, ooh. Oh no, we may have lost Ari. I think Ari froze. Yeah, I think Ari froze. Or I don't know if I froze. I think Ari for sure froze. Can somebody type in the chat and let us know if we're still live and doing okay? But I will say, like, what really baffled me the most is the fact that I would watch these commercials. Oh, yep, Ari got booted out. Ari will hopefully be back soon. So, like, I would watch these commercials. I would, linger in these aisles, like, clearly, like, having some sort of reaction to seeing the displays, or, and nobody noticed. Like, my family just did not, like, to this day, my family will, like, if I ask them, like, oh, did you know that I was a flaming homosexual? My family will regularly be like, no, we had no idea. And I remember when I came out, they were like, we had no idea. And in my mind, I'm just like, guys, there were so many signs. Like, I was doing everything sans riding in on a unicorn wearing a tiara, like, I get it. But no, it was really, really wild. The fact that like I would, find these small aspects as like parts of gay awakening, right? So Ari just messaged me. Oh my goodness. Technology keeps us on our toes, doesn't it? That's for sure. So now it's funny because when it comes to thinking of the term gay awakening, I never really thought of the term until probably college. Like, it just didn't really occur to me that there were like small moments in our lives early on where like there would be like some subtle spark of something that would get us thinking about dudes, like, or like whoever you're attracted to, right? So when I finally learned the term, I got really obsessed, and I was like, I need to go back through and find all the instances and moments and situations where I was like being signaled that I am gay. So like those two examples were a couple of them that I noted. And obviously, well, like when I hit middle school and I was starting to go more so through puberty, I was noticing like I was finding people attractive in films, people attractive in TV shows. I was discovering that like while all the other boys around me were like very much attracted to girls, I was just very much not. Like I was just like, okay, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I not having the same attractions that everyone else is having? So I do want to catch up on the comments really quickly as well. RP, you said that Adam, I think you mean Adam Lambert, right? Adam Lambert was one of yours. For me, when Adam Lambert was on, well, like was in the mainstream, like at that point, I knew that I was super duper gay, and of course, I found Adam Lambert extremely attractive, and still do to this day. So RB, you also said I had a lot of internalized homophobia. That's interesting. Ari's back.
I went on my laptop because my computer is still updating. So I was like, I'll just hop on my laptop and see if I can come back. I'm so sorry that happened. Apparently,
No, you're good. I was talking about more examples of subtle gay awakenings.
so I'm just like, apparently all of this talk about gay awakenings was just too much, and my computer was just like, I cannot handle this conversation. I just need to shut it down.
Your computer is clearly being homophobic.
No, I think it's just not gone through its own gay awakening, and so it just can't handle the conversation.
We flustered your computer.
We did fluster it. It was just like I can't handle this conversation.
Oh my goodness. That is too funny. So I was just talking to everybody about how like, oh hi Larity, how I would go through and like, I mean, I mentioned like the underwear packaging, and then like I talked about like exercise commercials and like cologne commercials.
Oh my god.
Like Ari, 90s exercise commercials were like something else, let me tell you.
Exercise videos. Oh my god, like women's exercise videos where they're like in the boob action and the, like I swear to God, and they always had these leotards that like right into the crotch, and like they always had like their pussy was shaved like in a perfect like you can see like the edge of their bikini and stuff, and they were always like shaved like, and like but the thing about it is like they always look so unnatural looking, like the women of my youth, like they looked so like their body shapes were like these perfectly skinny like small bodies but like big boobs, and so like it just didn't like they like it was like they were like telling me like I'm supposed to look like this, but then it got like into the 90s where it was like heroin chic, which is like kind of like what I wish my body kind of like this androgynous like no boobs like no hips like androgynous body type kind of look. And in my idealized youth brain, that's kind of what I wish I looked like. It's not that I wish I were skinny, it's just I wish I had no like form, like just I just kind of wish I looked like a plank.
No, it's I remember, I can really relate with that because like obviously watching those exercise commercials, I was like, oh, I need to look like that. Like if I'm attracted to that, then that means I need to look like that. But I also remember, well, our next question is, when did you start understanding that you were a sexual creature and know about sex in general? Like for me, it was like middle school, like late middle school, and then throughout high school.
Oh, for me, it was much younger. I was probably about like 7 or 8 years old, and I was aware of sex because it was just because when you're a female or feminine, it's introduced to you so young, like because of patriarchy, sex and being a sexual creature is introduced to you at a very, very young age.
Absolutely. Well, so like I remember like when I especially got into high school, because I was forced to have to take a gym class and a swimming class. And I just remember how everyone idolized the sports players. Just like when you're in a rural small town, like small town America, like the competitive sports players were always placed on this like pedestal of not only performance but also like physique and all of that jazz. And I remember longing so much to look like them, to have their confidence, to be kind of like lauded and celebrated like them. And it was very much tied at that point to like my gay awakenings too, because like I remember at that point in time, like I developed like my first major crush on like a straight boy. And it was like, and in my mind, like I knew that I was having these attractions, but I couldn't fully understand it or articulate it. Like instead, because of my upbringing, I would immediately like go hide somewhere and pray and pray and pray. Like, oh my God, I had a gay thought. Like I can't, like there's something wrong with me, blah, 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 right? Um, like just like this weird amalgamation, like this shit stew of religion and hormones and being super gay and all of the masculine performance expectations.
The thing about it was, for me, is that because I'm bisexual, I find almost all women attractive. Like you like, so the thing about it was is I would bounce around high school and I would find most women attractive. Like it didn't matter how they dressed or what they looked like or what shape they are or how they were. I just found most of them, like I find most women to be attractive, in my opinion. Like it doesn't matter, you know, how they are. I'm attracted to usually most women.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is that because I was in a culture where, especially in like the 2000s, that women were kind of pitted against each other, and there was a sense of like having to be like we because we were all kind of like in this culture of like being a pick-me, where it's sort of like, you know, I'm not like other girls, and like we were all kind of like indoctrinated that we had to be like the chosen ones, or like, you know, we had to be that women were like, you know, that there was like this male gaze culture, and that we had to be like different than other girls. Like we kind of all were like that. That it was sort of like, even though I was attracted to most women, and I also was attracted to men. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
the thing. Like I was also attracted to men. So because I was attracted to both men and women, because of heteronormative standards, I would end up dating men. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing about it is, I felt fear around women because of this pitting against each other in the female culture, because there's like this sense of like competition.
Right.
And so like it was sort of like I would want to be around women, but also at the same time I was afraid of women because I felt
Mm-hmm.
it, because there's a sense of like female aggression towards each other, or like not feeling safe around other women because it was sort of like they saw me as competition for a man's gaze. And so it was sort of like,
Interesting.
it was sort of like I couldn't, it was, they saw me as like not, didn't see me as something that I could be attracted to, even though I saw them as attractive. They saw me as like
An obstacle or something like
an
that.
obstacle. And so it was hard to be around. So I had to like bury a lot of my like feelings for women. And so like, even though I had to bury like a lot of my like sexual feelings for women. And so like, even as I've gotten older, I've had to like kind of, my feelings for like the sexualization of women have changed into like becoming more like, I don't necessarily feel like sexual feelings for women because of all of the trauma I experienced when I was younger. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I want to romance women more than I want to sexualize women because
Mm-hmm.
of my gay awakenings. That I want to like have like, I want to romance women. I want to like spend, you know, they run asexual in nature. Like I want to spend like quality time with women and have like good feel good moments with women. You know, like be two old biddies and have like tea time, and I want to buy her flowers, and I want to be like, a Cyrano to a woman, and like do like write poetry to a woman and like make her feel like she's the most important thing in the world and like steal her from a man. But like I don't necessarily want to have sex with a woman because I'm always afraid that like there's something like an inadequacy or something.
Mm-hmm. No, that's very interesting. I never considered it from like the bisexual perspective like that. Because you're not only juggling like the social standards placed on like the traditional heteronormative relationship, right? But you're also navigating like this space of like maybe you're attracted to women who don't reciprocate attraction to women or to femme presenting or non-binary people, right?
Right.
And it's like an extra layer of something to navigate through.
Right.
So so I just want to quickly get to the comments. Arpy says, I realized that I was asexual in college. College seems to be like a pretty good time to like make self-discoveries, considering there's a little bit more, I mean, depending on the person, freedom, right? Brian says, hey there, guys. It's good to see you, Brian. Hope you're doing well. I do think that for me, college was definitely that time where like I started to, like, I knew that I was on this trajectory when I was in high school, but like once I got to college, I felt like I was at least in a somewhat safer place until I came out and all hell broke loose. And, you know, that was a mess, but that's a whole nother chat for a whole nother day. So what are some of our gay awakenings, like beyond just like the subtle ones?
Oh my God, you go first. But will you read? Do you have the poem pulled up?
I can go find the poem really quickly.
Okay.
While I find the poem, do you want to talk about one of yours?
So one of my first, as far as like women that I was like, wow, I have like I that I could first like point to, I have strong feelings about, and I'm not sure how I feel about this, was definitely Jodie Foster. I have strong feelings about Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs. That movie, for some reason, I have really strong feelings about that movie and just like how she was in that movie, just because she's like really smart and she's really like physically fit in that movie, and she's like really like just like powerful in that role. And so there was like a part of me that was just like really confused about like, I don't know if I want to like be her or if I want to like fuck her, but like she's like amazing and she's beautiful and she's like powerful and she's like just charismatic in that role. And I felt like all sorts of feelings in that movie. And just like she definitely is, and just the way that she was pursued by people who were monstrous, and it's just like it made me want to like protect her from all of these like monstrous, like horrible, disgusting men. It's just like it just made me like not like want to take her away from all of that and just like not want to be like, you know, have her be around all of those terrible, you know, people who were, you know, abusing. It seemed like they were abusing her and like putting her through those traumatic circumstances, and it just made me want to like save her from whatever she was experiencing.
Oh my goodness. No, that's a very interesting explanation of regarding your attraction to that character as well. Nathan Lefevre is here. Hello. It's good to see you. Same with Jodie Foster. My gay heart loved her in Candle Shoe. You know, so many people love Jodie Foster. Like I just think it's so interesting that Jodie Foster was such a very pivotal moment for so many LGBTQ plus people. I love that.
She's a gay icon.
She is a gay icon. Okay, are you ready for mine?
Yes.
So, well, we have multiple ones we're going to talk about. The first one that I'm going to talk about is, I would say, the earliest gay awakening that I had, and it was Leonardo DiCaprio in the film The Beach. So I distinctly remember I distinctly remember this, Ari. Because my mom was always watching like action movies and stuff like that. And I remember The Beach came on. And Leonardo DiCaprio in that film is basically in like shorts. Like just short,
Like swim trunks the whole movie.
like the whole entire movie. And he's like this overconfident kind of a asshat kind of a dude. And I like when I saw that man. Now, I thought he was attractive in Titanic, but it wasn't like enough to jar me into the thrills of homosexual awakenings.
He wasn't like half naked the whole movie though.
He like, well, in Titanic he wasn't, but in The Beach, like I remember just being like overwhelmed with like this. Why am I like so drawn to this person?
And he had like frosted tips, which very 90s.
Oh, it was the frosted
tips. The shell necklace. And he was always like a little bit sandy and like dirty. And it was just like you could have like a little romp with him on the beach. Yeah.
That literally describes it perfectly. Is Larity like clawing at you?
No, he is clawing at my back.
Larity is.
And I'm trying to get him to stop.
So what is your next one?
So I watched Scream, and so Neve Campbell in Scream was like good, but I was like, oh, she was cute. Like, you know, she was his heroine. But then I saw my mom rented Wild Things. And the sex scenes in Wild Things were intense. Like because that's the thing, like with Hollywood movies, is like they will show young starlets like full frontal nudity. Mm-hmm. And so you get people like Neve Campbell like doing a bunch of like nude scenes and stuff like that. And you're like, because like you see it now with like people like what's her name, Zendaya, and she just did that one with the tennis movie where she's like, and she did like some dirty scenes. So she did some dirty stuff with I don't remember the tennis movie, but she did like where she was with two guys. So that could be someone's young person's gay awakening. But Neve Campbell was she was with Matt and Dylan, and she was in Wild Things, and she was playing a bad girl.
Ooh.
And so she was doing all sorts of bad things. And I was just like, Neve Campbell, I don't know if I want to be her or if I want to fuck her, but I just love her so much.
Ari, you're blushing talking about Neve Campbell.
She's just so beautiful. She's so beautiful in so many ways. And she was so good in that role. And I was just like, I don't know how I feel about.
She's kind of got this like smolder.
She does. And and the thing about it is it's because she just looks so good. She just looks so cute, and she looks so good. But the thing about it is she has this like ideal body that I'm like aspire to, but also at the same time, like I want to look like her, but also I want to sleep with her. And so there's a little bit of narcissism involved with it, but also at the same time, she looks so hot.
Right. Oh my gosh, we have 8 people on right now viewing us. Wow. Lacey's here. Hey.
Hey, Lacey.
Lacey says LMAO Kevin Bacon's D. I'll never forget it. Jedi Grandfellas here. Hello, my friend. One of my Godzilla fandom friends. It's good to have you here. Let's see. I thought I missed a comment. Did I miss a comment? Oh, RP says I'll always find Nick from Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Kind of androgynous. Also, frosted tips at a certain point. Why did dudes with seashell necklaces and frosted tips have this chokehold on us?
Absolutely.
Oh, and Lacey, if you're still here, I don't know if you're still here. Who is the actor that played in The Crow? Like the 1994 film Crow. I
Oh
cannot
my
remember.
God, Xena Warrior Princess, please.
Xena.
We have talked about the Xena
We
Warrior
have.
Princess in the past.
I also talked about finding who's the person who played Hercules who's now terrible? Kevin Sorbo. I found him
Yes.
attractive at one point, and now I'm just like, no. Nope. Xena over Hercules any day. Lacey's like, I think that's the first movie I ever saw a D in, and boy, was I surprised. Brandon Lee.
Oh,
Yes.
the Crow. Oh my God.
Brandon Lee was so
yes.
attractive.
Oh my
We're
God.
talking about gay awakenings, Lace.
We're just talking about Hollywood celebrities that we have crushes on.
Okay, do you want to know another one of mine? Another one of mine was Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek The Next Generation.
Oh my God. So we were talking about this in the back room, and I was in Seattle when I was watching The Next Generation, and I told my boyfriend at the time to grow a beard because I wanted him to look like Riker from The Next Generation. And I was like getting really excited because he kind of looked like Jonathan Frakes. And I was like, it's really excited because he looks so good. And he would do the chair thing sometimes. And I was just,
there was just like this.
Yes.
In Star Trek The Next Generation, he would like, instead of sitting normally in a chair, he would like lift his leg over the chair. And every time he would do that, I'd be like, oh.
Straddle me, daddy.
Basically. But no, like I remember, okay, so I always found Riker attractive. Like I remember like the first season of the show, he had like a baby face, and I was like, still attractive. But then for some reason, when he got the beard, season 2 onward, something active. I don't know if like a daddy issue activated in me or what, but I was just like Will Riker from Star Trek The Next Generation is the daddy to end all daddies.
Oh, yes. And I didn't realize that until I was in my 30s, and I was like, what was I missing growing up not watching Star Trek The Next Generation? Because Will Riker is such a daddy. He's so cute. Oh my God. And I was like, I don't usually go with guys with beards, but oh my God, he is a hottie.
Right. So let's see. Lacey says that The Crow is my favorite movie ever. Yes. Lacey said that Angelina Jolie is when I knew I was bisexual.
Oh boy. I'm intimidated by Angelina Jolie. She is terrifyingly beautiful. She's like so beautiful. Again, it's like you get around women and they're so beautiful that like you don't even know what to do at that point, because it's like the beauty is just like overwhelmingly to the point of like, what do you do? What do you do at that point?
Like it's just, I remember I would go on these like spirals where like I would like just develop these crushes on people, and then I'd be like, these people will never know me, you know? And then like I just remember being like, wow, what am I doing? Why am I investing this energy?
Like they're not even real at that point. They're just like, this person has got to be like so heavenly. They're not even real at that point. They're just like they've got to be like Photoshop characters or something, or like they've been like digitally reproduced. They're not real at that point. They're just figments of my imagination that have come to life. They're just like, you can't be real. You can't exist in reality.
Right. Arpy says, I love guys with spiky blonde, curly, or long hair, like that androgynous look. Yes. And then Jedi Granville says, I think you meant nothing wrong with that. Having feelings for some of these performers. Yes. Lacey says, in the movie, is it, I can't,
Gia, it's Gia.
Do I remember that movie? I'm trying to remember that. I do remember that movie. Yes. Oh, so like Brad Pitt also was one of those, like, if you're homosexual, if Brad Pitt was not one of your gay awakenings, then well, you're probably a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha. Or
Meet
are
meet 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 Joe Black. That with Brad Pitt.
Yep. RP also says the emo goth look. Oh my! When I was in college, the chokehold that the emo goth look had over me was outrageous.
But just like looking at these celebrities and stuff, like how did that affect like your body image of yourself as far as like your gay awakening? Like when you look at them, like because there's a sense of like wanting to be them but also like wanting to sleep with them. Like how did that affect your body image, like for yourself? Did it send you into spirals of like, I'm not good enough?
Yeah, I would say it did. It got worse when I was in college because when I came out, I thought that the gay community would be far more accepting than it was. Like, because like I was so excited to get into college because I was like, okay, I'm going to be able to finally come out and find someone and develop some experiences. But then I would have like gay guys be like, "Oh, you're unattractive to me. Like I'm not like you're ooh, like I mean, don't get me wrong, like my aesthetic in college was not the best, but I didn't think I was unattractive by any stretch of the imagination. But then like I would look at my gay awakening celebrities that I really had a thing for at one point in time. I would look at these like gay guys that I was attracted to, and like I knew that like physically I would not probably ever look like them, even though like every fiber of my being desperately wanted to look like them because I felt that it would be like some form of acknowledgement or acceptance, you know? Like kind of like getting the foot in the door of like what makes people worthwhile, not wild, in the gay community, right? So like yeah, it caused quite a bit of
Because they're like the ideal. They're what you're, because they're like, if you look like them, then you're winning, or like
then I'm in the in crowd
yeah.
essentially. Yeah. And honestly, like I kind of had that headspace for a very long time, even like through the end of college. I don't think I really started getting out of that headspace until I developed some dating experience and realized that,
I think Tumblr really screwed me up too, like in college, because there was like all these photos of like girls who were like, they would Photoshop their pictures, and like you were supposed to have like thigh gaps, and like you were supposed to be like really dainty. And there was a hashtag that like coquette was a hashtag. And
oh
so you were
yeah.
supposed to look a certain way. And so like I saw these girls who I thought were like beautiful, but they were actually like very dangerously skinny. And so like even though I outside of myself, I see every woman as beautiful. There was this like unhealthy predilection with society being as skinny as possible, that like I had to be as skinny as possible. And there was this like societal pressure to be as thin as possible. And I was putting that on myself. Like I didn't judge other women for whatever they looked like. I thought, most women, in fact, most everybody was beautiful. And I had gotten close to women who had been heavier. In fact, I had relations with women who were on the heavier side. So it that wasn't a problem for me. The fact of the matter is that, even regardless, but the thing about it is that uh the fact of the matter is that I had this predilection on myself that I needed to be as thin as possible.
Yeah. I
Um,
think that like in a way, like in trying to enter gay spaces, like that impacted me as well. Like this need to like either like it was either to be thinner or to be super muscular and like work out. Like I would go through stages in college where like I would get so fixated on both of those things to like the detriment of my own health, which we've talked about a few times on the show. Lacey says, speaking of Gen Z, did you know that they are now referring to our generation as from the 1900s? Ooh. You know what? I'm not surprised.
That's all right.
Do you want to know my last gay awakening?
What's that?
It's Pierce Brosnan from Dante's Peak.
Oh my God. Are you going to read the poem?
I am going to read the poem. I wrote a gay awakening poem, everybody. It's cringy, but I think in a very entertaining way.
I love it, though. I want to hear it again.
So to give you context, like my mom used to love like natural disaster movies. It's probably why I went through a phase where I was like literally terrified of like natural disasters, especially like volcanoes.
And that's why you're so preoccupied with the volcano in Iceland.
It's why I'm obsessed with geology in general. So the poem I wrote is called Sulfur and Slumber, and here is how it goes. A flotsam of books was the best pillow because 2 a.m. was an unknown time past the point of mysterious moonsets, long after the deaths of flashlights and beyond the dying uranium glow of stick-on ceiling stars. Geology for kids was enough to strike a spark for the rock collectors, the wannabe volcanologists who made mountains out of mache, played with chemical reactions to unearth the planet's wealth of power. This night, though, National Geographic Volcano Nature's Inferno, paired with an undercover viewing of Dante's Peak, transmogrified science projects into backyard hellscapes, and last week's science class premiere of Up from the Ashes made Mount St. Helens spring next door. No, not even Pierce Brosnan's rugged heroism could make it go away. The fear of volcanic acid baths, or the shadows of pyroclastic columns racing forth, the false scent of sulfur as pumice bombs blanket quiet little towns. Still, somehow, the obsession remains despite 20 years of recurring nightmares. It seems that decades of natural disaster films, in each instance Grandma said you're going to hell, could never stifle an aspiring amateur volcanologist. Or perhaps Pierce Brosnan's smoke stoic stare was all to blame.
I love it.
That definitely is going to be in my next collection whenever that happens, so... No, this one is not in any book. Arby suggested that it's in Feats of Alchemy. Nathan says, my mom still loves disaster movies. I feel you there. Yes. And Arby says, did you like him in Mrs. Doubtfire? I don't think did he have a big role in Mrs. Doubtfire?
He was the mom's boyfriend in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, yes. I do remember now. Wasn't he kind of terrible? I think he was kind of like the antagonist.
He was kind of a jerk in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah. Well, we don't think about that. We think about hot Dante's Peak pre-Pierce Brosnan.
And we think about Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire more than we think about Pierce Brosnan.
Absolutely. So, interesting question. How does breaking cycles related to self-image, diet culture, negative self-talk, and patriarchy? How can we break cycles related to those? Because I feel like those are kind of offshoots of what we talked about regarding the negative things we would have to navigate through our gay awakenings.
So breaking cycles is related to gay awakenings.
Mm-hmm.
So with patriarchy and stuff, oh goodness. What's the question?
The question was, how does breaking cycles relate to self-image, diet culture, negative self-talk, and patriarchy?
Oh goodness.
That was a question you wrote.
Oh goodness.
I feel like there's so many layers, and each layer could be like its own episode.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough question. Was
I think I have partially an answer. I think one way to break the cycle of those different things associated with it would be having more LGBTQ plus spaces where they can learn about navigating such things. Because I feel like, I mean, you being bisexual and non-binary and me being gay, like I don't think when we were in college we didn't have the knowledge at our disposal of like what we were feeling, like was it normal, was it acceptable, like if we didn't feel accepted in a group, like was there any place for us to necessarily go, right?
yeah. Because with Gay Awakenings, I feel like it's such a natural thing to have a gay awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the thing about it is that you can't. I think like having more media that has like gay friendly media is breaking that cycle that allows for people to have people that it's like more gay icons that they can like allow themselves to feel comfortable, because it was sort of like when we were younger, we were kind of stuck in this heteronormative culture of the people that we liked. It was gay coded, but not, it was in a heteronormative context. You know what I mean? And so that cycle that we're breaking is that like there's more LGBTQ plus media now. So it's sort of like the gay icons are actually gay and not just in a heteronormative context now.
Right.
So I feel like
do you know what I just realized?
What?
I was looking at the wrong set of questions.
What were you looking at?
I was looking at the questions under the first episode of the season accidentally.
Oh my goodness. I was like, what cycle are we breaking? I don't know.
And here I was gaslighting you like, Ari, you wrote the question.
I was like, I can make this work.
I do feel like we're good. Look at how we successfully integrated that into our conversation. Oh my God. So I think, now that we're like nearing the end, I think one important takeaway from all this is the realization that gay awakenings should be discussed. Like, I think some people like feel like shame over gay awakenings, but the truth is when it comes to the LGBTQ plus experience, we only tend to talk about coming out. And, and I feel like the conversation stops strictly at just coming out. Like, we don't talk about those gay awakenings. And of course, we don't really often have enough conversations about the things that people navigate post coming out either. So I think normalizing the conversation about gay awakenings is a healthy thing to do.
Yeah. I agree with that entirely.
That makes me... I'm still broken over the fact that I read the wrong question. You were like, what?
Because I was like, I didn't think I wrote that.
That's why, I remember looking at it and I was like, wait, that question doesn't seem familiar, but here it is. Maybe I missed it. I'm a mess.
This has been kind of an interesting episode because we've had so many technological failures. I feel like the computer has just been so overactive today.
We had technology issues. Although I will say, we had 8 people on. That is a lot for us, which was great.
It's just been we've had mental freezes because the computer froze and we mentally froze because we were just trying to process the fact that we were going through our own awakenings.
Right. I cannot wait to go back through the replay and watch me for 3 minutes just clunkily go on and on about finding underwear packaging as a gay awakening.
So any final thoughts about gay awakenings?
My final thoughts are celebrate the gay awakenings, reflect on them, because they've shaped us into who we are as people. If maybe they contributed to toxic behaviors, think about those and unpack that. And honestly, like therapy has helped me a lot with unpacking some of those too, especially when we juxtapose it with like our struggles with like body image and navigating societal norms. Any final thoughts on your end?
The only regret I have about my gay awakenings is that I allowed my family to gaslight me and try to stick me into a heteronormative box for so many years that I allowed them to toxically tell me that being attracted to women would lead to a hard life. And that for so long, because it wasn't societally acceptable, and that because of patriarchy and the male gaze, I didn't allow myself to explore my identity and my sexuality earlier. I really gave up on myself for a long time and just kind of resigned myself to being a cis het woman. Because I was afraid of what that meant and just resigned myself to being an ally. That was really hard on me for a lot of ways. It took me until I was in my 30s before I really, and I was in a space like Seattle where it was a safe zone where I could really explore those things.
Right.
It really took a long time to really come around to that. So I understand like being in places where you're not able to explore those ideas. And if you are in a place where you can't explore those ideas, where you don't feel safe because you're in a family that doesn't accept those things, but there is healing from that.
Absolutely. I think what you said was so important because we, of course, don't always talk about like what bisexual people have to navigate through when it comes to their own awakenings, their own coming out processes, right? Because like even within the LGBTQ plus community, there is a lot of gatekeeping, right?
Well, and just a lot of like telling you that you're, biphobia, and just that, you're either gay or you're straight or you're just in denial about what you are, and that you can fit into one perfect box.
Yeah. So I think there is room for future conversations about that because that's a very important topic. Thank you, Brian. We hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day and weekend as well. And RP agrees with you. This has been a wonderful conversation, everyone. Just thank you for bearing with our technical difficulties and my mental lapses tonight. So, but otherwise, we all love you. Don't forget to click like for the algorithm because that helps us. Don't forget to watch the replay, share it on social media, subscribe to our respective channels if you haven't yet, and know that we all love you and that we will talk to you soon. All right. Bye.